Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah.
I'm moving today, so my mind is a little bit all over the place. I have all this moving stuff.
I'm also helping you, no problem. I got you.
So yeah, thank you. So as we again just reiterate, environment, how much clutter you have in your environment or how organized it is, it's going to directly affect your capacity to work on cognitively demanding tasks and to focus. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to be able to focus, but I'm saying it is going to be more difficult and your brain is going to be spending additional resources on managing that environment. And also the same reason goes to your phone. Like when it's in your visual side, you're still probably going to be able to focus, but again, there is less cognitive capacity available to you because your brain knows, like there's a lot of simulation, a lot of things happening in your phone, right? Your brain knows it, you can't fool it. And that's why it's still managing that device when it's in your sight. When it's out of your sight, it's not that much at all. And they actually measured cognitive performance when the phone was right by your side, a little bit away, and then somewhere in the other room completely, that you sometimes even forget about that. So that all matters. And after that clutter, orderness of your environment, I'd like to switch to light, because that one is super important for your feelings of wakefulness, like how awake and alert you feel during the day, right? That's why it's very important to work in a brightly lit environment, preferably natural light. Like if you sit by the window, or glass doors, etc., or maybe even outside, as long as the sun doesn't like shine exactly right into your eyes and it's not distracting, then you're gonna work better and you're gonna stay more alert and you're not gonna feel that sleepiness, especially in the afternoon. And to that point, if you start feeling sleepy in the afternoon, going out for let's say 10-15 minutes when it's bright and sunny, it's gonna make you more alert and focused and awake without you having to consume any caffeine or any kind of stimulants or doing anything else. So light is really important, and a lot of co-working spaces are very poorly designed in that way. Like you sit in some dark corner and then you're wondering like why you always sleep here.
Feeling tired, exactly, for the TV goes down.
Yes.
So true.
So environment, light in your environment is a really important factor. When it comes to our productivity, of course, sleep is hugely important, right? It's very hard to do anything when you don't sleep well, when you don't sleep enough, when the quality of your sleep is not good. But we don't talk often enough about how light actually affects the quality of that sleep. How viewing light in the morning and seeing a lot of natural light during the day, and also not exposing yourself to bright light at night, how important that for the quality of your sleep, right? Simple thing like melatonin, right? The main falling asleep chemical in our brain, the amount of it released is directly correlated with the light exposure in later hours. So if, for example, before night, you see a lot of blue light, you spend time in brightly lit places, the production of melatonin will be reduced, sometimes 80-90% that studies show. And it's just gonna take you so much longer to fall asleep. You're gonna be in bed at the same time and just not being able to fall asleep because there is no melatonin released because of that bright light exposure. So let's start from the evening. About 3 hours before bed, ideally, you wanna start limiting a lot your light exposure. And there are a few things that you want to take care of. Your phone and all of the screens, TVs, your laptop, your tablet, whatever you have, ideally, especially an hour before bed, you're not going to be looking at any of the screens, like maybe reading a book, going for walks, taking hot bath, or just spending time without screens. But like 3 hours before bed, and if you have to look at the screens before bed, you want to install apps and have solutions that are going to block that blue light emitted from devices. So if you're talking about your phone or your tablet or your laptop, there are a couple of solutions. Either you have a night mode, on your phone, on your tablet, usually in settings where the brightness is, right? They have like night shift, depending on the phone, depending on the model. So you turn it on, you set the schedule. Let's say if you go to bed at 10, then maybe 7 p.m., your screen goes into orange mode, into not so brightly lit mode, right? And you can also change that. So just explore your phone. Do you do that, by the way?
Do that with my, not phone anymore, but on my computer, there's this kind of app that dims the light. It's like a night dimmer or something like that. Mm-hmm. It dims the screen at a certain time. So yeah, lately though, I sometimes turn it off because in the evening I'm still doing some stuff. But I have been doing that, but I have to be more consistent with that. But not on phone. That's new to me.
Mm-hmm. So on your phone there is also a setting, but also there is this app f.lux that's available for free for all platforms, tablets, laptops, phones, and you set it up, and at a certain time it will dim all the lights. It will make it orange instead of blue.
Yeah.
So one of the best apps. And consistency is important. And usually what you do is just set up the timer, right? When the schedule, when to turn it on, when to turn it off in the morning. And what else? And try to do any work that you need to see, true colors on your computer before that time. So it doesn't bother you at all. And also TV, right? Also blue emitting device. And for that, if you, for example, have a habit, do you have a habit of watching TV in that night?
I don't watch TV for the last 7 years.
Okay.
I don't, I'm really honest. I don't have a TV. There's one here, but what is it? Spanish TV? No, I'm not watching TV for super long. So.
Yeah, me neither. I use it for my workouts, but just in case. And in case of TV, I don't know, maybe you're with someone watching it. But also in the cases, if you, for example, have to go out, that's a very tricky part for a lot of people, right? What if you go out at night and you have to walk through brightly lit hallway or elevators, or you go to a grocery store, a lot of bright lights, like a lot, right? What do you do? Well, the only solution I have, actually a couple of options. Either do everything you need to do before that, and if you go somewhere, maybe try to choose places and spots where there is not that much light, right? And especially an hour before bed, try to buffer it from all the lights outside and inside of your building. And the second one is purchase blue light blocking glasses. Those are available on Amazon almost everywhere. They're quite cheap now. And wear them when you need to go out, or you need to, I don't know, maybe you watch TV for some reason, right? Or maybe you go to a movie cinema with someone, and it's right before bed. Then I suggest to get those glasses and wear them. Again, I usually design my whole schedule so I don't have to go out, right? But if you travel, if you do anything outside more or less consistently, then probably the purchase of those glasses is really a good idea.
Awesome.
And also in your place at night, what kind of lights do you have? Is it super bright? Is it blue and green or orange?
It's it's actually, you mean in my house right here? Or you mean in my apartment or?
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably, it depends from room to room. In the kitchen there, it's a little bit brighter, but then living room here, hallway, it's more orange, it's kind of like table lamp light, this kind of style. So it depends. And my bathroom is also more brighter.
Okay. Yeah, that actually one of the things a lot of people miss, like bathrooms and showers, a lot of times very bright light.
Exactly.
Shining right into your face.
Exactly.
So I found a simple solution: candles, putting them somewhere just to sit around, and having that as a solution. Another one, if I'm traveling, for example, what I do is I turn on my phone, in the orange light, and I put it against the wall, and it works kind of like a night light. It reflects the light, you see what you need to see, and that's it. So those couple of solutions, if you're more permanent in some place, maybe sometimes it makes sense to purchase some, simple lamp with orange and red light, the ones that you put on a nightstand or something like that, and put maybe a couple in your apartment. They're usually also pretty like cheap and available. And so that's another solution. Or candles. Candlelight is probably the best light for before bed. All right, it prepares your system for bed, doesn't interrupt with your melatonin. So, and it's also a simple solution.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, those two things in your place, having that orange and red light, because we can switch our screens in all this blue light blocking mode. But if you have a lot of bright light in our apartment, it doesn't make any sense. You're still going to get all this light, whether that's from your screen or not. So that's why it's very important to manage your environment as well. I always, on this part, I just want to make sure that people, plan something. So what is the solution for you? What can you do in your apartment, let's say today or maybe tomorrow, to make it better?
Yeah, I'm going to get some candles. I think we even have some here. But I'm definitely going to prepare them. I'm going to put some here in my own room for when I go to sleep. Some probably also maybe one in my bathroom as well. Because that's the worst light, if you toothbrush or something like that. Or I'm going to try what you said with the phone dimmer, put it against the wall. Yeah. But I'm definitely going to buy some more candles because I really want to try that. Yeah.
Candles usually work well. And then what else? Lighter. Don't forget, if you don't have it, to light the candles.
Yeah, that's a good one. You're having them. You're damn, gotta shoot rocks, like back then.
Yeah, exactly. So that happened quite a few times for me. I'm damn, I have all the candles, but no lighter.
No lighter. That sucks, huh?
Yeah, kind of like coffee. Sometimes you put the coffee in, no water, and you're well, it
doesn't. No, oh man. Yeah. Yeah, so, for sure. I wrote that down.
Mm-hmm. Light. So we talked about that. I mean, now light in the morning is another important part of the routine, right? What do you do in the morning?
So what do I do in the morning? So I have a morning routine. So when I get up, first I drink usually about half a liter of water directly, just to get hydrated, get the system running. Then I of course brush your teeth. Shortly go to toilet, whatever, if I need to. And then I work out here, just home workouts. So I do that for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I do push-ups. I do some kind of these bands for biceps curls, etc. Sometimes do some yoga as well. I do yoga also, squats. Yeah, just to kind of sweat, just to push myself to the limit and just sweat a lot, get the muscles tense. And then I take a cold shower afterwards. Then after the cold shower, usually I have done my mornings smoothie, so I have a smoothie or juicer here. Put lots of vegetables inside, celery, etc. Greens, lots of vegetables, some fruits, and have some supplements in there. Moringa powder, maca powder, some other stuff. Mix it in there. Drink that. That's basically my breakfast till lunch. So I do that kind of intermittent fasting. I found that's very helpful for me. I just drink water, lots of water till lunch. And after that, what do I do? Then meditation, of course, about 10, 15 minutes. Then I do journaling. Journaling in the morning. To-do list and then my own kind of journaling, gratitude journaling, etc. So and that's actually the first things that I do in the morning. Yeah.
Okay, so that is an amazing routine, and we're gonna get back to it when we talk more about nutrition and movement, etc. Already hearing a lot of good things. What I'm not hearing related to light is going outside.
Yeah, I forgot that. I actually really do that, but I have started with that thing just recently, just a month ago. So I go out because where I live here, there's there's a garden out here, and I go out not so long, 3-4 minutes or so, but I'm usually getting, I did that actually before I came. I got the water out there, and then take the first, sunlight, like people go to the beach, take these first, lights of sun. But I haven't done that consistently, but I've started with that because I heard somewhere that should be very good, sun gazing or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you can call it sun gazing, but you don't necessarily have to gaze at the sun. What happens when you get outside? You get that light exposure that you can't get inside. Like even if you stand by, window, by glass door, they actually designed that way that they block some of that radiation, natural, that coming from sun. And you need to get it to actually start production of certain brain chemicals like dopamine or serotonin. Those are very light sensitive, also norepinephrine. And those are important for keeping you alert, awake, and ready to go. Your dopamine especially, that's what motivates you. And if you screw up kind of like your light exposure, not enough light in the morning, too much light at night, then your dopamine levels, they suffer. They've been, again, measured, people who don't have this good light routine, their level of dopamine, they drop. And so, of course, they change. Once you start doing that, it's pretty fast that they get back to normal where they need to be. And so in the morning, it's just very important to get outside and spend time outside. Again, not necessarily looking at the sun, just making sure that that light falls somewhere on your eyes, right? So that's why it's also important not to wear any sunglasses, or having a hat that covers your eyes or casts a shadow. Or if you are somewhere where there's a lot of shadow from like buildings or some other places, it is highly recommended to get out of that shadow and spend time where you actually have that bright light, again, exposing your eyes to that spectrum fully, instead of blocking some of that light wavelengths. And the duration, well, first the time. The best time is for you as soon as you wake up and as soon as the light is out. Obviously, if there is no light and it's dark, there is no point of getting outside just yet. So as soon as you're up, as soon as the sun is up, it's the best time to get outside and expose yourself to natural light. The light that is in the first hour of sunrise, it's different from other kinds of lights that you see during the day. It's just the wavelength.
Why is that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I think you wanted to say that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why, first hour of sunrise is like the most beneficial. Then, the second best thing is just as soon as you can. How long? That's also important. If it's bright, it's like not cloudy, very bright, then yeah, under 5 minutes is enough. If it's cloudy, obviously a lot of that light radiation is going to be blocked. So spending more like closer to 15, 20 minutes is better. Super gloomy, then probably like a 30-minute walk, or just maybe working from somewhere outside, maybe like on a porch or balcony, that will work. So any questions so far?
Yeah, so I was going to say, why is that the first hour, of the day, that the sunlight is different? I think you said the radiation is different, or?
Well, what happens is when the sun goes above horizon, the angle which it faces the Earth, it's different. And our atmosphere acts kind of like a prism, and it distributes that light, seems to distribute that light differently depending on at which angle the sun is. So the higher the sun is, that angle changes, and the wavelengths that we receive here on Earth of that light are different. It's not like the sun is changing, it's just how it reaches the Earth changes. And so your brain is very ancient machine, and it knows that that kind of light happens only 2 times during the day, during the first hour of sunrise and before sunset. And that's the signal to your brain that, this is when the sunrise is happening, this is when sunset is happening, and this is the time to be awake in between those 2 events, right? Your brain gets the light signal and registers that time, and that helps you to set your circadian rhythm in a very powerful way. And that's just good for all of your systems, because light is one of the most powerful ways to synchronize and balance all of your systems in your body, because you might not think about that, but everything has to happen at a certain time. During the day, you eat, you consume food, you distribute energy and absorb energy. During night, like for example, you need to be asleep, not going to the bathroom, not being hungry. All of that stuff is regulated by that circadian rhythm, right? And if it's off, like everything is going to be slightly off. Like your digestive organs might not be working on time when they're supposed to, or, you're going to be like awake at night, going to the bathroom or being hungry, etc. So that is why it's important and more beneficial to see that light in the morning to restart that circadian rhythm. And also there's been quite a lot of research around anxiety levels, worries, and stress management when it comes to having this light exposure practice in the morning or not having it. Like the more consistent you are with it, the better you seem to be on all levels, like physically and mentally. And again, why also light is important to start those neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, or epinephrine, keep you awake, alert, and focused, right? If you do that consistently, it's just going to be, again, so much easier for you to stay awake and alert. And it's going to be easier for you to fall asleep at night, because your brain will know exactly that this is the time to be awake and this is the time to fall asleep.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people ask me, like, what if I can't do that? Like maybe you are in a place where the sunrise is all over the place, like UK, or maybe, I don't know, Canada, all the way up to Norway, what do I do then? Or maybe it's during winter. There are some light solutions that kind of imitate natural light exposure, not exactly, but they have very bright lamps, 10,000 LUX. I might, give you a link also for that, but you can purchase that, very simple. They're also very cheap lamp, and set it near your working space, or, where you're going to be spending time in the morning. And so if you can't get outside, maybe you're also flying or something, then having that lamp, and a lot of them have traveling solutions, with 10,000 LUX intensity, that will help you to simulate that natural light effect without having to be outside. But again, not the same, technology is not yet there, but it will help much better than nothing. They call them circadian lamps sometimes, if you like Google it or look up on Amazon.
Oops. For here, we are blessed with lots of sun.
Yes.
In Mexico.
That's what I love it here. Sun is pretty consistent.
Exactly. Yeah, it's there in abundance, so we don't have to worry about that here. It's more than enough.
Exactly, more than enough, and it's consistent. The sunrise sunset time is pretty much the same all year round.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not like in the north. Now in summer it's like up to 9 p.m. or so, or 10 sometimes, probably in Russia too.
In Siberia, where I'm from, it's white nights, like the whole night.
Yeah, it's like all night. Yeah, I know that because my girlfriend's from Sweden, and there, it's also in Scandinavia. So it's like in summer, it's like nearly all night actually. Yeah, it's crazy. Summer, it's beautiful actually. But then in winter, on the other hand, it's like it's super dark all the time. So.
And it messes up your cycle, like how awake, alert you are, how all systems work in your body. That's why if you are super interested in your health and well-being, the best place to be on Earth is around the equator, because sunset, sunrise time are pretty much the same all year round. And everything starts to work like a clock in your body.
It's good, actually. It's easier.
Yeah, exactly. So do you have any questions around that light exposure? Maybe, I always like to ask about life situations, like what do you usually go through, let's say, in your year that might be interfering with that practice? A lot of light exposure in the morning, not a lot of light at night. Like what can get into way?
I think, the only thing why probably I'm not too long outside here in the morning is because the mosquitoes they are like, but that's not a big deal. No, but I think the biggest part was actually in the evening, that thing, because I'm definitely going to take your advice with the candles and all that, and just set up my whole place before sleeping in a better way. with that kind of light exposure, because that was probably a thing that, was just at night before you sleep, it's super bright. You go to the kitchen, you get some water, and it's just there. And then when you go to bed, it's it takes a little bit longer probably to fall asleep. So I think that's definitely a good point. But usually nothing should actually stop, because in the morning, I've been doing that, so that light exposure is fine. Also, here I'm just here. There's just the window here right behind I'm just sitting by the window, so I'm always having the curtains a little bit up, so I have that kind of light in here. Although the sun doesn't go, the sun usually is, I'm on the side where the sun is in the afternoon, so the sun is behind here, is rising behind you, so it takes all day to like about 4 or 5 until the sun shines in here. So it's good light here, but it's not like sunshine, in the morning right now. Yeah, exactly. That's one thing.
So you always want to do the best. Life is not perfect, especially if you travel, like sometimes environments are not perfect, but that's why sometimes you gotta have like solutions. Maybe get a lamp, maybe those blue light blocking glasses. What I wanted to mention is, again, light through the window is not the same, right? Just always make sure that you remember that, even if you're right by the window. It's best to get outside. And sometimes maybe like, taking a call outside and going for a walk, getting, maybe additional movement or something like that. Sometimes you just have to be really flexible and kind of combine things. Or maybe sometimes do a little bit of workout outside. Again, depends, where you are. And for the evening, the most important thing is, of course, your house. It's got to be kind of like a temple of your sleep. And that's where you have the most control. One thing I wanted to mention, a lot of people forget fridge. Like if it's really bright fridge, you might, kind of prepare everything in advance, so you don't have to stare in that fridge right before going to bed.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Because I used to like have making tea, getting some milk, and you would just stare in that fridge. So now I just close my eyes and I take the milk. I know where it is.
You know where it is. You're just like,
So that's what I do with my fridge. What else? If you have to go out, for, I don't know, meetups, dinners, etc., just do your best to maybe choose a place that is not so brightly lit. And also on the way home, try to minimize your exposure to light, like not going to stores or walking in super brightly lit streets. Just be aware, right? And do your best. And don't worry about the rest, because, worrying never helps with anything. So control what you can and let go of the rest.
Okay.
Okay, so I think about the light, we covered it. Just wanted to reiterate that if you feel sleepier, not so awake, not so alert, going outside always helps. Right. So I always want you to have that solution first, then going for caffeine or some other, things that can impact your health and sleep, not in a positive way. Always get light outside, get some maybe cold shower, get some breathing going. And that is more sustainable, balanced, and doesn't affect your, again, sleep and your health in a negative way down the road. A lot of, things that we take, they are, especially stimulants, they give you something, but then they take it back. There is like,
exactly.
That you just get from them. So just to be aware of that. And a couple of other things I wanted to mention about the environment. Yesterday, we talked about focus, right? And actually, first I wanted to ask you, tell me, like, what are 2 most important things to manage your focus? Like to think about, what are 2 most important kind of like factors to think about?
One is, for instance, clarity of your destination, of your goal. And then also, what was the other one? Distraction versus the challenge ratio, what you also need there. And is it what you mean? Like,
well, that, the ratio is for motivation, but you actually mentioned the second thing is distractions in environment, right?
Yeah, when it distractions in environment,
So when it comes to focus, it focus and clarity, destination, goal, where are you going, what are you doing, right? Where do you want your brain to focus? And number two is your environment, distractions, etc. So minimize that in your environment. There is another thing that is very powerful for focus. The thing is, our eyes is a part of our brain. And what we do with our eyes affect how our brain works a lot. And if you want to focus easier, what you want to do is prime your focus for like unitasking by staring at one point for, let's say, like 20 seconds. It's enough, 20-30 seconds before starting your focused work. So what it looks like is before starting your work, you just stare at one thing. And that brings your brain quite literally and physically to one point of attention. Yeah. And that's why it's also important, again, not to have many things in your environment or a lot of tabs open, because then your eyes are like that and your focus also starts to jump from one thing to another.
Oh, that's new to me. It's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I heard it from Huberman Lab podcast. It's like neuroscientist from Stanford, and he has his focus protocol, and so this is one of the key parts of it, that you stare at one point. It's like where your gaze goes, your attention flows. So it's very simple, and you just want to understand that your eyes part of your brain that is outside. So whatever your eyes are doing, directly affecting your brain.
Well, where your gaze goes, your attention flows. Mm-hmm. And then your eyes are part of your brain. That's also, it's a good new perspective.
Yeah, I mean, your brain is in this black box, and the only like window into the world is your eyes.
Eyes, yeah.
They are actually connected to your brain, right? So
yeah. Okay.
And now I want to cover with you a few other things about the environment that you probably don't know. Your eyes, we already started talking about that, where your like gaze goes, your attention flows. What also has been shown in studies is where your eyes are positioned, like let's say above the horizon of your eyes, so to speak, or below, will affect your alertness level. So what it means is if you work on your computer and you're feeling like, sleepier, not that awake and alert, you actually want your eyes to be higher or at least at like your horizon level. So maybe positioning your computer in a way that makes you look up and makes your head go up, that will affect your alertness and wakefulness. And, I also heard like from scientists that some of them even put like stuff like their computer screen above, or sometimes even like really above. And that keeps you awake and alert, because that's a physical signal to your like brain that we are erect, alert, awake, we're doing something. Whereas like if you like that, then it's kind of, sleepy, plus the blood circulation is compromised to your brain. So posture is important, but also your eye gaze is very important. So if you want to feel more alert, awake, and let's say during the afternoon, that's the time when you seems to be less awake, then
that's so true.
Yeah, designing your space so you look up, it's going to help with that alertness.
Big one. Yeah.
That's why usually I try to position my computer up. Today, not the option, but it's morning, so I'm kind of like, okay, that will do. But yeah, just be aware of that.
I already have it because I have like this laptop stand, But I'm even gonna make it put it even higher right now. So, sorry, I just want to already do that right now,
Yes.
Yeah, that's much better. No, it's like a little bit above mine.
Yes.
I'm just gonna have it like that.
That's amazing. Putting everything into action right away. That's really good. Way to remember to start practicing, and also what it helps with your blood circulation improves because of more open, more straight posture, and your brain is more awake and alert and focused when there is more blood flowing to your brain with all the oxygen and nutrient. Right. That's why if your posture is like that, you basically compromising your blood flow everywhere, and it's just so much harder for your body and your brain to maintain focus and alertness. Okay. Light, we got our focus. A couple of other things about your environment. Again, a small detail, I think there is just a handful of people who know that. There are different kinds of work that we usually do during our day. But usually you can divide them into analytical, where you have to like calculate things, so be very focused, maybe putting like words together, or maybe proposal, I don't know, putting like or analyzing numbers, sales, I don't know, like making prognosis, like analytical work. But then there is creative work, right? When you kind of like want to design something or develop an idea, develop a concept. And so there are two modes, analytical and creative. Now, there are actually different kinds of environments that help your brain to do better one or the other. If you're sitting in a room that is more like a box, it's going to actually help your brain to think analytically and to be more precise and to be more focused, to be less perhaps open-minded and less creative, but also less like focused on a bigger picture. Instead, just one task, smaller picture, an analysis, very precise. If you want to engage analytical part of your brain, that's where you want to sit, kind of sitting in a box and thinking in those, more straight angles.
Yeah.
If you want to work on something more creative, what helps is, they call it the dome effect or the cathedral effect. Yeah, probably the cathedral effect. You want to have round, big ceiling. If you have the ability to put yourself somewhere with either, high ceilings, or get outside because that is the highest ceiling, or if you also have the ability to to view some gorgeous, perspective, right? If you can see the horizon. The next best thing is having the picture with that horizon, like, really gorgeous picture of where you see the horizon, a lot of open space. So that openness in your brain creates that perspective thinking, big picture thinking. So if you want to do your planning, I actually highly recommend you to find a space either open or with just really tall ceilings, a lot of spaces, right? If you think about cathedral or churches or, I don't know, palaces, that's what you want to think about, right? This like scale that actually makes you think bigger compared to when you sit in a smaller room, in a more square room.
Yeah. Makes so much sense also, because that's probably signals to your brain that there's like limitless possibilities. It's like big. It's like, there's no kind of limits, restrictions. But then with the analytical kind of environment, or with the environment for your analytical brain, it's more like, okay, I can analyze everything I have to control. I can see, okay, there's not too much. It kind of really makes sense. Just,
and also, you want to think through our evolution. When we would encounter open spaces, we would start planning our discoveries, our exploration of that environment. Compared to when you were in a cave and you, like, I don't know, sitting by the fire or just, taking care of your environment, you're not really thinking about all of this, big world available to you or planning. So that's like physiological conditioning. You want to narrow down your focus, you put yourself in a narrower environment. If you want to open up your perspectives, you want to be in a space that is open and a lot of light, right? A lot of companies actually do that when they organize their brainstorming space. They make sure that it's big and spacious with a lot of light, a lot of flow of energy, etc. So that's, again, use it, design for it. Whenever you need a bigger perspective, just maybe get, I don't know, on the beach, that also helps. Or like what I like to go sometimes to some beach house with amazing view, or on a rooftop and start brainstorming.
That's a cool one. Yeah.
And a couple of smaller things, colors, smells, that also affects your mental state. So for example, if you're in a room with a lot of white, maybe bright colors, that's going to make you feel more positive, more lighter, optimistic, fun, joyful. Like when you think about bright colors, white, but then also like green and yellow and orange, just notice how your mood changes. And so realize that if you in your environment, there are certain colors or maybe, pictures, images, like, I don't know, the walls, the color of your walls, that's all going to affect your thinking and your mood. And that's going to affect your decisions. And that's going to affect the kind of work you produce, the kinds of plans you use, right? So again, here is very simple. You want to understand that darker places, colors make you think less optimistic, less positive, less like open-minded. It kind of like, dark dungeon or cave. So if you want to be more optimistic, like, I don't know, go after opportunities, see if you want to be in that state, and also mood, elevated mood, that you want to surround yourself with white colors, bright colors, and just notice, if you get into the room, just spend like 5 minutes there and see how it makes you feel. Very often we can actually notice like where our mind starts going. That's why, for me personally, if the space is like, looks like a dungeon, I'm like, there is no way I'm living there. I'm just put it on the street. But there is one thing, if you want the place to feel cooler, darker colors, blue colors will make it so. So let's say you have a room that in a hot climate, but you wanted to make feel cooler, then having a little bit darker shade, also blue colors, like cold colors, they call them, that's going to help with the coolness of the place.
Yeah. That's amazing. About coolness, I don't know if that's because it's also kind of connected to environment. What is the ideal temperature for sleep at night? Is it something
that we're gonna talk about tomorrow?
Oh, okay. Amazing.
Yeah, we're gonna cover that. It just, environment comes first in the sense that light. If you take care of your light environment, a lot of sleep things will get easier. That's why I try to always cover light first. The second thing about the colors, realize that it's not just you who is affected, but all the people around you. It comes from physiology, from biology. Like, you do not choose how colors affect you, right? So if you want someone to be more optimistic, open, like feeling joy around you, wear brighter colors. And, you can even Google certain colors, what kind of effect they seem to have on people. But if you always wear black, right, to every occasion or around people, you're not going to be that person of, I don't know, light and optimism for people, right?
Yeah.
So also be aware of that. And the last piece that we're going to cover for today is smells, specifically essential oils. Essential oils, like natural essential oils extracted from different plants, they also have a very profound physiological effect. And in fact, the sense of smell is one of the most developed and effective, like when it comes to effect on our brain, senses.
Yeah.
When we smell something, especially around certain experiences, our brain memorizes really well, like what that smell was around. Or like if you want to enhance memory for something, let's say, you can use different smells to anchor that memory, that event, or I don't know, maybe specific facts, right? That's just one aspect of it. But specifically, I want to touch upon two essential oils. Rosemary oil, that's been used in Greece, ancient, like Rome, around that area, in ancient times. That's been used for people who wanted to learn better, memorize, to improve their cognitive capacity. They would literally, before exams, sniff on that oil, or wear what do you call it, like the thing around their head that's made of rosemary, and that will the smell that actually enhances your brain's capacity to be focused and also to memorize things. So I usually actually have, and I have it right now, just back somewhere, rosemary oil. Whenever I'm about to learn or I need some boost of focus, I sniff on that oil, or I put it on my wrist or here, so my blood flow distributes it around my body. And yeah, it will help you to learn better. Again, there is research, there are studies. So if you use it, if you want to boost your memory, especially before important, I don't know, exams or presentations, where you want to remember a lot of things. And while learning, you sniffing that. And right before going into the occasion, let's say presenting something or at the exam, you sniff it again, and that will bring up that memory of what you learned, because now the smell is associated with certain thing, right? Again, that will just help you to bring up whatever you learned. And it's going to help you to stay focused and alert. Mint kind of has similar effect, but I always recommend going for rosemary.
You just get that where? Walmart, Shurina, or?
Here I get it in Bio-Naturals.
Bio-Naturals.
They have a ton of essential oils, and usually you would find them in like health food stores, or sometimes also pharmacies would have essential oils. Amazon also has a ton of them. So just make sure it's natural, not essential. The price usually is different. It's like, you know, one small thing is, I don't know, maybe $6-7 depending on the brand. But you don't need a lot of it.
Natural.
Yes, exactly. Because the thing is, you know, the difference in general between natural and synthetic compounds. Synthetic compounds might smell the same, but they have different molecules. So when you inhale them, it's a different thing. You're not inhaling the same just because it smells the same.
That's good to know.
Yeah, it's like having strawberry flavored shake when there is no strawberry.
Yeah, true. That's so true. Exactly. Yeah, that's a huge difference.
Yeah, exactly. And the second smell, lavender, for some people also vanilla works, but lavender especially is powerful for inducing meditative-like states, for helping you to fall asleep, for helping you to relax, to relieve stress. That's again being shown in research and studies, and a lot of facilities use lavender for that purpose, for like to just spray it around, like if you go to a massage room or you know, some spa, but also, or sometimes you can put it like one or a couple of drops on your pillow, and that will help you to fall asleep. And that will also anchor relaxation with that smell. So now every time you smell lavender, you'll feel more relaxed in general.
Relaxed.
Yeah. So if you feel like your stress levels start shooting high, you smell it, and it actually helps your body to relax.
As well, you get at the same store where you got the rosemary. Yeah. Cool.
They are very popular, like rosemary and lavender are almost everywhere. Yeah, and I think, you know, for today, Justin, that's all I wanted to cover. So now let's maybe first, what questions you have, you know, and again, I like questions to be around your lifestyle, like what it is, you know, specifically might be useful to you that now, you know, you have all this information, but you're not sure like how to use it in your life. Like maybe those oils, or, you know, maybe.
Yeah, for instance, let's say the lavender oil, would you kind of use them, like utilize them during the day, or rather like a little bit later? Because, you know, now when you get a little bit like tired, but you still need your brain performance to be up, then that would be kind of, you know, contradictory in a way.
You know, to simplify this whole system, you want to think about, like, you have a balance, and then you have alert, awake, you know, focused, like ready to go, excited state, and then you have calm and balanced state. Now, for these oils, you can think of that like rosemary, like brings you up, lavender brings you down. Now, let's say you're sitting and your stress level starts shooting high, or anxiety, and that interrupts with your work, right? So you're too up, you're not where you want to be. So if you want to bring yourself down, you probably want to use lavender. Like, it's going to bring you down a little bit to that ideal state. Now, if you're too relaxed, right, you might use rosemary to bring you up. And then also remember, like those things, they can be also changed. Like if you smell lavender oil and all of a sudden you're like super sleepy, although that doesn't happen that much, you know, they're not that powerful, like they're not sedatives. You can always do things to bring yourself back up, like breathing. You can take cold shower, you can do rosemary oil. But again, you kind of want to think of yourself as this state of balance or ideal state you want to be for the work that you want to do. And depending on where your state, either too high or too low, you want to use to leverage that. Let's say, you know, I'm about to give public speaking. I'm already up, like my adrenaline shooting through the roof. And I don't want to be that way. I'm like, I want to be a little bit more chill. So I would use lavender oil.
Well, yeah, that makes sense, of course. Yeah. If you're, of course, it kind of balances out again, you know, of course, if you're already not so perhaps awake in the morning and then you use that, then probably it's not the wise thing to do. But then if you're already fired up or whatever, and you just want to like get yourself a little bit down to earth, then you can take that. Of course, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, the same with every tool. Nice. Again, you just like feel where you are and where you want to be, and use the tools to adjust accordingly. Yeah. The same with light. You know, you want to be more alert and awake at night for some reason. Maybe you need to, I don't know, deliver a speech or something. Get yourself as much bright light as possible. Yeah. You're gonna get up, you know, just for that occasion. Or if during the day you need to go to bed earlier, like my mom always jokes about that. She's like, how can you go to bed at like 5 or 6 p.m. if you have an early flight? Like, well, I just dim the lights, you know, prepare myself to bed, do everything, and I'm totally fine.
Exactly. Yeah, that's nice. Nice. And also, and I think with the lights, like I think one last thing I would ask also here is to do you recommend having like table lamps as well? I know you said you have like with the candles and all that, but do you also work with that? Do you have that? If you do, like, what do you recommend there? Like a more dimmed kind of light or a setup?
I usually use either those table lamps that usually have darker spectrum. They're basically night lamps, right? We are already like that dim light, even though sometimes like people change lamps, but originally they come as night lamps and they are not bright at all. So I would use that. Also in some apartments here, surprisingly, they have like some lights that are super dim and red, and I would use those. Or if there is no other solution, I would use candles. Another thing that I sometimes do, like this is my hack in places like hotels, etc. If there is a lamp, but it's still too bright, I would put some pillowcases on top of that or some clothes to make it dimmer. So I created, and sometimes, you know, then people would come in and they're like, what's going on?
What the hell is going on here? Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just adjusting the environment. And also, air conditioners, I don't know, all kinds of microwaves. Sometimes they have those like blue lights, like, I don't know, numbers, you know, time, showing your time or something else. I always have some tape with me and some cardboard. And when I come to a new place, I would put that piece of cardboard and on top of that, so it doesn't shine into my eyes also, and just stay on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's wise.
Yeah, just kind of like bulletproof my whole environment.
Yeah, just make sure everything is optimized as far as possible, right?
Yeah, using, you know, simple tools as long as you're aware of that, that's usually not a problem.
Yeah. Amazing. Definitely gonna get those oils, sure.
Yeah, again, you know, bio naturals, get there. And if you have any questions about anything, don't forget, you know, always reach out. And sometimes, you know, it's one step at a time, works the best. You know, just today, maybe organize your night environment. To maybe tomorrow or the day after, start putting in place all the things in the morning. And then just like one thing at a time, put it in your routine. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. That's everything, you know, anytime we do something new. But the more you repeat it, the more it's going to feel like your second nature. Like no work at all. And
one thing at a time.
Yeah, one thing at a time. That's the, the science of building habits. And another one, always ask yourself, what's the next best thing? Like, if you can't make it perfect, like, what's the next best thing? What's available to me? What can I do with that? Just, don't go for perfection, go for the best thing that you can do.
Perfect. That's good advice. Thanks for that. Yeah.
Yeah, happy to help, Justin. So again, recap, take like maybe 5 minutes to recap, maybe take a cold shower to hyperventilation, to remember it all better. Right, I'm gonna, again, put the recording in the folder for day 2. And tomorrow, 9:30, we're gonna reconvene and continue.
Perfect. Hey, looking forward to it. Thank you so much again. This is great.
My pleasure. Just put it into practice and tell me how amazing you feel.
Absolutely, I will do that. I will keep you posted.
Yes. Thank you. Have an awesome day.
All right.
And
yeah, you too.
We'll talk soon.
Talk soon for sure. Looking forward.
Me too.
Bye-bye.